under the bridge, and essentially we've unlocked the Nordschleife Part 2. This is something I have been so excited to try ever since I knew about this road. In today's video, I am going to be doing something that I have been dreaming of doing. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something that I have been dreaming of doing for a long time now, and that is driving a historic version of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Reiza Studios have been doing an amazing job of recreating old circuits on AMS2, so you've got the historic Imola layouts, historic Spa layouts for example, and many more. And it's really cool because as a motorsport nerd and lover, I've always wanted to see what these circuits have looked like over the years, and actually being able to drive them in official capacity is absolutely sensational. But finally we have the one I've been dreaming of the most, and that is of course the Nürburgring Nordschleife. A 1971 version of the venue is going to be available very soon on AMS2, and I'm currently trying it out on the release candidate, which you can also access through Steam. I'll maybe show you just now on the video how it's actually done, but very simple. Just go to betas, select release candidate, and you can try this for yourself as well. Now obviously the Nordschleife itself hasn't changed that much over the years. Of course the surroundings have, the barriers, the trees and all that. It's going to be amazing to see what it actually looked like back in the day, but there's actually something that I'm even more excited about. Now in 1971, the GP layout of the Nürburgring hadn't been built yet. It wouldn't be built until 1984. Back then there was still a second layout however, and the Nordschleife, if you were to translate it literally, it means the North Loop. But there is also a circuit called the Südschleife. Even if you don't speak much German, you can probably work out that the Südschleife is the South Loop, and that is actually where the GP layout is situated right now. But there used to be a whole other circuit going through the forest that was a lot more similar in character to the Nordschleife than the GP layout. Now as you can see, we have the 2020 versions of the circuit, but if we scroll down to the bottom, you can see what I'm talking about. So we have the Nordschleife Historic, which is the main North Loop. You also have the Südschleife Historic, which is the South Loop of course, but then if you go up to, we also have this one. This one is the Gesamtstrecke, and I believe that translates literally to total route. And of course, as you can see, it's combining the North Loop, the Nordschleife, and the South Loop as well to create one behemoth Nürburgring experience, and it is that one that we're going to be trying in today's video. So let's buckle up into our car, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second, and get on circuit. So this is the start line of Gesamtstrecke, and of course the Südschleife as well. Now on the right hand side there, what you can see is what is now the Grand Prix pit building. So we're essentially on the modern day pit straight. On the left you would see Mercedes-Benz World and the roller coasters and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing there at the moment other than a few friendly people ready to watch some 1970s action. Speaking of 1970s action, I'm going to be driving this BMW M1 Pro car, which didn't come about until 1978, but I feel will be very well suited to a circuit like this in period. It's going to be absolutely mega. So what I'm going to do is drive around nice and slowly, if I can actually find my gear stick. There we go. First of all, just take the South Loop nice and slow, just to give you an idea of how it looks, what it's all about, and how it links to the modern day circuit as you know today. And then for the Nordschleife section, I'll be able to push a little bit more, because obviously I actually know that track. So this is going to be very interesting indeed. We head down the main straight. Now obviously normally you'd be going right here into a tight hairpin and into the Grand Prix section, but instead we're going to be taking a left turn. So it looks a little bit like the Nordschleife's first corners, to be honest, but of course it's a completely different part of the circuit, so that can be quite deceiving. You then head down the hill. If you were to turn right there, you would loop round and rejoin the Südschleife, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. But because we're doing the combined layout, we're going to go down this hill, under the bridge, and essentially we've unlocked the Nordschleife Part 2. This is something I have been so excited to try ever since I knew about this road, knew about this circuit. There's not much footage around, so you've kind of had to go on theory and the odd little bit, but it's so nice to be able to actually experience what this layout looked like through the trees. And as you can see, I mean, it's already got camber, undulation, danger everywhere. Now we are racing at 7 AM, so that's why the mist is lying nice and low through the trees. AMS2 looking amazing in VR as always. Now I don't want to push this BMW too hard because I don't yet know the layout, of course. But we'll get a feel for what it's going to be like when we get up to speed, and I think this is going to be absolutely mega. Absolutely mega. Now racing did take place on the combined layout up until the 1930s, But then the south loop and the north loop were obviously well established, and then the racing kind of split into two sections. So you did have racing on both, but there was definitely more racing going on in the Nordschleife. I keep going to say the Southschleife, I can't speak. The Südschleife was much more of a kind of almost like the forgotten sibling. There was racing on it, but not quite as much, not as prestigious series, of course. The Grand Prix took place on the Nordschleife. And then in 1971, which is when this version took place, the racing got even less on the South Loop. Basically, at this stage, there was barely anything, just the odd club event and rare race. And then by the 1980s, a lot of the track had to be removed or destroyed to make way for the Grand Prix layout. So even though a lot of these roads do still exist, it looks very, very different, and it's all broken up by the new Grand Prix section. So this is basically our key to unlocking history and giving it a go, which we would never have the chance to do if it wasn't for sim racing. So thank you, Reiza Studios and AMS2, for providing us with this. This section of track, as you will see, not as long as the Nordschleife. Looks like we've got a tight hairpin here. And we are already getting close to returning to the bit that we all know and love. So it's a bit more closer to the Grand Prix layout in terms of distance. So here we are, under the bridge. Now, just to give you some context, this actually looks like the run onto the Grand Prix pit straight that you'll be used to, but actually, what we're doing now is going up the Grand Prix pit straight in reverse. So essentially, if we were to turn right at turn 1 instead of left, the bit I talked about earlier, we'd rejoin this road here. Now, on the right-hand side, we're going to be going past the pit buildings from the other side. So we're essentially running now down the back of the circuit. And then turn 1 of this section is going to be essentially the last corner of the Grand Prix layout, but in reverse, if that makes any sense. So now we're going to be going left. This is an awesome banked corner. If we wanted to just do the Südschleife, we could turn right here and then just do that loop over and over again. But instead, we're going to go left over this bridge, and suddenly things are going to become very familiar, because this, of course, is Sabine Schmidt's curve, turn 1 of the Nordschleife. And then things just ramp up from here. So you know exactly where we're going now as we head down the hill into the high-speed right-hander. And this is the part of circuit that I know now, so I'll be able to push that a little bit more in this BMW M1. Now, even though the surroundings are different, and as you can see, the width of the tarmac's a bit different, the safety is very different, the character and the actual surface itself remains fully Nordschleife as you know it. I think the track's a bit wider by the looks of it, and that might just be down to the fact that the curbs have come in and moved, and safety reasons, the track may have been, you know, narrowed a little bit, and also the fact that you can see so much more around you will also help give it that feeling of being wider. I'm not quite sure. Car going light as always. That 7 AM sunrise looking absolutely gorgeous in virtual reality. It's really interesting as well to see all these young trees that haven't quite blossomed yet, haven't grown into full adults. It's baby Nordschleife. Baby forest. It's not usual we can see the tips of the mountains over there. Let's get on the power. This thing sounds incredible. Can't see a thing, I'm blinded by the sun. But everything is so familiar. The track itself feels exactly the same. It's got all that character, but having those curbs running all the way down gives it a new flavour almost. Oh, that is bad. Nope, 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 nope. Hi. Just thought I'd come and show you this future BMW M1 Pro car, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be some great racing happening in this car in the future. Anyway, where was I? There's something kind of emotional about this for me, because it sounds really sappy, but I've always wanted to know what this particular layout feels like. I've always wanted to know how it looked. It was just such a dangerous part of F1 history, and obviously this track was, you know, one of the most magnificent to watch. Some epic corners, but it just had so much character because of its danger and its ultimate difficulty. And being able to experience it in an old car like this, where you're sliding around, you know, without the grip and downforce of a modern GT car. It's just spectacular. You can see as well the hill over there at Adenau. You can see the run up because nothing's grown enough yet to block the site. As we now head over the Adenau Bridge. Whoa, close to that hedge. And then we push up the hill. Just have a listen to that BMW engine. What an epic sight and an epic sound this must have been in the 70s, witnessing, you know, 20 or 30 Formula 1 cars or GT cars pounding around this track. Magical forest. Just about have enough gears here. Oh, that's a bit of grass on the entry. We don't want to be doing that. Bit of grass on the exit as well, for good measure. Nothing really changes in terms of how you have to drive this circuit. Yes, the tarmac's a bit different and the curbs are different, but it just adds to the natural flow. It doesn't change the flow. I think it just makes it feel a bit more normal in a way. There's something very, very familiar about all of this. Is the carousel the same? Of course it is. Less chewed up, maybe. Feels a bit smoother, if anything. Now heading towards my own personal favourite section of the track. Sorry, I forgot I had passengers with me for a second there. I was just enjoying that immersion. I completely understand why people absolutely adore this place. I've always loved it myself. I know a lot of people probably feel a bit salty about it or don't really like it because everyone always bangs on about it, and I understand that as well. But personally, no, I'm falling into the category of being in love with the Nürburgring. Getting near the end of the lap now, and all this is making me want to do is keep on going. I really, really can't wait to actually properly learn the Südschleife as well. Now, heading on to Dottinger Ho, things are looking a little bit different now because obviously the track is lined with bushes and trees, and look at the elevation changes here. This is incredible. I've seen photos of this before, but look at this. It's all been flattened out now for safety reasons, and you can understand why. Even this M1 with all of its grip and downforce, it's not got a lot of it, if I'll be totally honest, but still, it manages to get some air, which is just phenomenal. Now, if this is the same, we're going to be going under the bridge and turning left a little bit. I'm going to predict it. Oh, I'm glad I did. Oh, that's grass. Everything's fine. This is exactly the same, of course. Get slowed down nice and smoothly. And then we should be going left and rejoining the very start of the lap. And that's it. A lap of the combined Nürburgring loop back in 1971, and that is a bucket list item ticked from a sim racing perspective. That is absolutely mega, and I just cannot wait to learn my limits through this south loop, work out the braking points, how much speed we can carry over the bumps. I mean that, for example. After this video finishes recording, I think I'm just going to keep on pounding around for a little while. You might never see this video, in fact. Anyway, while I get on with probably crashing this BMW M1, I want to know what you lot think of this track. Have you tried it on the release candidate? Do you plan on getting it? What do you think of AMS2 in general? Do let us know in the comments below. And of course, if you want to see more footage like this, more videos like these in the future, do subscribe to the Traxion channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of them. I'm going to keep doing this, so I will sign out and see you later. And until next time, that's a fence. That's a crash. And have a great day, I guess.